money, and his money probably puts a lot of it toward marijuana. I'm Aristotle Full Throttle. Hello, welcome. It's Monday. I hope you guys had a wonderful weekend. I took a relaxing 4-day weekend, except it wasn't as relaxing as I wanted it to be at first, but it turned out to be excellently and satisfyingly relaxing. First, see, I was put on a veil for a commercial, for a beer commercial, but I wasn't quite sure I was going to get it. But I had planned a little getaway in the desert, just to get away from town, to just be away for a while. And, of course, my agent calls me and says, you know, you're on a veil for this commercial that shoots Monday and Tuesday. Are you available? Yes, I'm available. But as you can see, I'm not shooting a beer commercial, so I didn't get it. But they said, well, we're going to let you know, because the fitting is on the days that you're going to be out of town. So it's just a drive away, a drive out of town. But I was under the impression for the first day that I was out of town that I might have to drive back to town just to try on some clothes. And the role was for band member. The role for this commercial was for a band member. I'm not going to divulge which beer it is, but it's cheap beer. I'm glad I didn't get it. Actually, I'm not glad I didn't get it. I wish I got it, because it's a pandemic and every work is welcome. I'm all welcoming of all work. So it turns out I didn't get the commercial. But the thing is, it was for a band member, and I was like, so I got to drive hundreds of miles back to town just to try on a bunch of black t-shirts and jeans. Oh, this black t-shirt? I'm a band member. Is this fitting all that important to the role? You know, band members wear t-shirts, right? Which t-shirt would you like me to try on today, casting people? I mean, costume department. Well, I'm kidding, guys. It's important that you go to your fittings. Well, anyway, long story short, I didn't get the commercial, nor did they let me know whether or not I got the commercial. Usually, I've found in this business, it's a lot more lax than usual. This afternoon, I actually have a Zoom audition this evening, and it's for a wine commercial, because people look at me and say, this guy will sell me beer and wine. That's what they want. I was just in a commercial for whiskey several months ago. Guys, I don't know what I'm doing, but people want to pay me to sell you alcohol. Or actually they don't. Hey, Mom, welcome. So, that's that. That was that. I didn't get that commercial, but I have another audition this afternoon. They didn't even tell me I didn't get the commercial. Usually they go, you have been released from a veil. But these last few years, I've got a bone to pick. I've got a gripe to gripe. I've got a chip on my shoulder, guys. Let me tell you something. These last few years working in the Hollywood and movie and television industry have been the most unprofessional several years. Like, I'd say 2 years. 2 solid years of people not being professional in this business in a way that it's just showing you the lack. What do they call it? Slacker. Remember Principal? The principal from Back to the Future? You're a slacker. You're a slacker. People are slackers now. They'll call me. They'll ask me if I'm available for a job. They'll say, are you available tomorrow? Well, yeah, I'm available. Okay. And then they don't get back to you. Or they get back to you and you say, okay, well, we'll let you know by the end of the day whether or not we're going to hire you for said job. And then they don't get back to you. It's frustrating. People seem to have a very short attention span nowadays in film. And I'm going to, now that I've got this platform, I'm going to use it and just call these people out and say, hey, if you ask someone their availability, either confirm or release them. Don't forget about them forever. So that's what goes on now. People have such short attention spans that they cannot manage to let you know with a courtesy call whether or not you are working. So clearly your time is not valuable to them. Ooh, I got a bone to pick. Guys, if you were watching on YouTube, what's up? Amit Mahajan, welcome on YouTube. Like the video. Like the video wherever you're watching. So I had a nice relaxing time. What's up, Ron Pertee, yo? We'll be on Ron Pertee's show this week, this Thursday at 7 p.m. I believe. I don't know what time that is. Hey, Ron, what time is 7 p.m. in California time? Is that the same 7 p.m.? Do we share 7 p.m.? Or is that 6 p.m. for me? I forget. I don't want to show up an hour late. You can call me whatever you want. Just don't call me late for Ron Pertee. V. It's been an interesting time. Greg is on this Thursday. I'm at a week from Thursday. I get all my Thursdays confused, Greg. I mean, Ron. And I get my Rons and my Gregs confused. Don't worry, Ron. It's a common mistake. People often say Greg when they mean to say Ron. Am I right? No, I'm not right. I'm not right at all. You might notice that my camera angle here is a little bit off kilter, not unlike this host. Welcome to the Aristotle Full Throttle program 5 days a week. Monday through Friday, 12 noon PST. That's Pacific Standard Time. Or Pacification Systems Tremors, the movie. That doesn't make any sense, but I'm glad to be here. I'm glad that you're here, Will. Welcome. Today we're talking about post-apocalyptic theories. Movies. Well, I have a theory about the movie industry as to why they're not getting back to me, because people just don't care anymore. People don't get back to you. They say, hey, can you work next? This is basically the equivalent, guys. We're in a pandemic. They're asking you if you can work. Hey, man, can you work next Thursday? Yeah. Okay. Then nothing. You don't hear anything. I'm telling you, I'm at my wit's end. I'm going to go into business for myself, create a TV show where people can hang out, talk about movies, talk about the things of the day, and enjoy life. I'm just going real easy today, going easy on a Monday, just easing into it. No guests today. Probably a guest, at least 3 guests this week. Still working those out. I like talking with people who work in movies. I like talking to people who love movies and art. And I want to have a message. I want to share a message with you all that, it was shared with me. I got a really wonderful note from our friend to the show, Jake A. He sent me some devices in which I can stream from multiple, even additional platforms now, guys. I'm going to have more platforms, maybe even TikTok. But the advice he shared with me is also advice given to us by the great Fred Rogers, which is just be yourself. Be your authentic self. A lot of times people, they're not like themselves, They try to put on this show. They try to list their credentials as soon as you meet them. Hey, Angie. Jake also sent us this. I'm going to say Jake sent us this because this is a show that we all share. Now, this is going to be a game that it's like music, and you could play music, and I'm going to have a Twitch stream. I'm full Italian mode today. I'm going to have a Twitch stream. I'm playing a music. You can come hang out and play music with me. I trimmed my beard in a very Italian guy way. Maybe like a Greek. I feel like a Greek guy. My hair is I washed it. You only got to wash this hair once a week. At the most. And now looks like I want to chop up a bunch of tomatoes and onions and put some oil on it. Guys, I'm not making fun of... You ever notice how I'm just making fun of Italian and Greek cuisine where it's the same ingredients, just a lot more oil and tang if you're Greek. Ron needs to talk to me about something. I feel like I'm talking to human resources. You get that note, you get an email. We need to talk to you about something. Come to our office this afternoon. We need to talk to you. Whoa. Human Resources is asking me if they need to talk to me. What was I wearing last week? Yeah, and Jen, you know, us curly hair folks, this is the good thing about living in the desert. I live in a desert right now. My hair will dry and it will just stay curly. Maybe get a little poofy and dry and crackly. But in the humid, it just goes like, it just inflates. It just absorbs my surroundings. It's a superpower. Mr. Sponge Man we're still spitballing the name for the character, but Mr. Sponge Man is right now what I'm gonna go with. And what I do is I absorb everything in the room, especially if it's moisture. I just suck up all the stuff. It ties perfectly in with our post-apocalyptic. It's going to be a very handy skill to have in a post-apocalyptic world. We're getting there. We're pretty circa apocalyptic right now, guys. Think about that. Nobody's wearing their masks when they should. California, 600,000 cases of the coronavirus. I've been doing this show since the start of the coronavirus pandemic in the United States. Hey, W.O. Welcome on Instagram. Guys, if you are joining us on Instagram, you can hop over to Twitch. You can subscribe there. Go to AristotleFullThrottle.com. Sign up on YouTube. Like the video. Like the videos. Like the videos. Comment. Like the videos. I'm trying to do some subliminal messaging like the video. This coffee is so like the video delicious. What I put in like the video, this coffee is some oat milk like the video. My best, it reminds me of one of my favorite comedians, Kevin like the video Nealon. Remember he used to do Subliminal Man? That was one of the best sketches. I would say that the dad jokes that I bestow upon thee were heavily inspired by Mr. Kevin Nealon growing up. The guy is just... If there was someone I would model my humor after, would probably be Kevin Nealon. Hey, mediocre films. My favorite post-apocalyptic movie is the Aristotle Full Throttle stream. Yeah, this is basically it, Greg. Greg has joined us over there on Twitch. This is the stream that you watch. I'm coming to you from the future. Not far from in the future, like 37 minutes into the future. Watch out. It gets pretty bad. You thought it was bad already. Trust me, 37 minutes from now, 36 minutes and 45 seconds from now, watch out. You don't even know what's coming. But I do. Imagine I was coming to you from a second and a half in the future. That would not be very useful. I would just be like, heads up. Everybody be startled. Today we're talking about post-apocalyptic movies. Yeah, guys, ever see the Postman? Kevin Costner. The Postman. Postman is an interesting movie because it's about a guy who delivers mail. Nobody really thinks, hey, post worker, that's a really exciting job. Let's make a movie about that. It's always cops and robbers, right? Movies are mostly cops and robbers and car chases. This is the kind of movies that I like. Every movie's got to have a car chase, per se. But not the Postman. It's got horses in it. And postal workers. Because there's nothing more exciting than sorting mail. You gotta say, and I mean, it was the 90s. In the 90s, there were a lot of people shooting up postal, what do they call those? Postal offices? They were not very kind, they were very upset about their job. So Kevin Costner took it upon himself to make a movie showing the pressures of the ill-fated postal worker. As we could see, that's about 37 minutes in the future, guys. You're going to see Kevin Costner showing up at your door on a horse saying, look, there's no post office. This is the best we got. I hope you can vote. Change this around. Yes, Ron Pertee, the Postman is happening right now. If you see Kevin Costner driving a horse down your street, you know that things are not good. Things are not good. That's why I bring this show up today. Post-apocalyptic. As we are circa apocalyptic, we've got stuff to look forward to. Is this Will says, yeah, you're giving off Renaissance vibes. I'm definitely giving off... I feel like I should be wearing a toga right now with the beard and the curly hair. I should feel like I should have some kind of philosophical name, maybe. Maybe just a name to denote how Greek I look right now. Is this Will? Gotta go into work, but I want to always check in when I can. Thank you, Will. I feel looked after. It feels very good. Guys, I've had a wonderful weekend. I hope you had a wonderful weekend too. It's Monday, as it is almost every week. We do this show every day, 5 days a week. Ron Perty says, if I could see Kevin Costner on my street, I'm going to ask him, why isn't he in the water? Ron Perty, it's funny you bring that up, because you know what? Kevin Costner is also in the post-apocalyptic movie Waterworld, which was exactly Mad Max, but on the water. So Mad Max, if we look at it, you know the Mad Max movies with the very famous and racist Mel Gibson? That movie, those movies, take place in a future where there's no water, right? And Kevin Costner, being the genius filmmaker that he is, said, I got an idea, you guys. What if there was only water? What would we do then? And he created Waterworld, which is not a good movie, apparently. Apparently it's a terrible movie. I have to be honest with you, I've never seen it, but I have seen all the Mad Max movies. And I could just replace all the sand with water in my head and imagine what it's like. And that's pretty much what I'll do with Waterworld. Although my friend David, our mutual friend Greg, and my friend David, has like the director's cut of Waterworld. I call it Mad Max Beyond the Thunderdome. But apparently there is a director's cut of Waterworld. And it's supposed to be great. Fury Road, Mad Max Fury Road came out about 4 or 5 years ago. I forget. But it was the most recent Mad Max movie by George Miller. George Miller is 117 years old and directed all of the Mad Max movies, and actually came out of, I don't even know if he came out of retirement, but he did the first 3 Mad Max movies, and then he did like the Babe movies with the talking pig, and then he did like all these kids movies, and then he came back and did like a really violent and intense movie called Mad Max Fury Road, which was excellent. It was probably one of the best movies of the last 10 years, because George Miller loves to make films. He's also a dentist, so he loves to drill teeth and make films. Who doesn't? Angie, you can't think of a movie. Does Deep Impact count? My brain keeps going to that. Deep Impact. Oh, well, Angie, I think you're going to deep... I am going to work on my Morgan Freeman impression right now. Well, Angie. Well, Angie. Let me get the tone. Angie. You know, Angie. Angie. I can't do it. I'll try it. Wait, let me do it. I'm not going to give up that easily. I'm just trying to drive you to the store. Andy Dufresne. Andy Dufresne. I broke him out of prison. Well, I didn't break him out of prison. I got out of prison and he left me some money. And then he broke himself out of prison by crawling through the muckety muck. I can't do it. David, yeah, you know that guy. Mad Max, guys. One of the coolest. I gotta put a little more Mississippi in it, Angie. Well, I'll tell you something. I can hear people at my mailbox outside. And I would prefer only to embarrass myself in front of you and not my neighbors, because I have to live here. But, this is funny. You guys know how much I love Carl Weathers, right? This is Carl Weathers. It's going to be the Carl Weathers Report today. Today we've got a left hook in your future. And maybe some clouds. No, ain't no sunshine in your future. And a Dufresne. I could work on it, Angie. I gotta work on my Morgan Freeman impression. Thankfully, there's one Morgan Freeman out there who can continue doing that. But once he's gone, then you know. Guys, have you read the book, The Road, by Cormac McCarthy? It's a post-apocalyptic story. It's actually quite good. They made the movie with Viggo Mortensen a few years ago. And I don't know. Movie's alright. Books are better sometimes. Sometimes books are better, but who wants to read the whole... Like, sometimes you gotta read... Once you get past, like, the cover, reading the title, it gets tiresome. There's so many words. Just show me the pictures. Books should have more pictures, is what I'm saying. Yeah, it is a depressing book, The Road. One of the cool things in the book, The Road, is the description of drinking a Coca-Cola soda. When you're a child and you drink a Coca-Cola soda, it's like one of the most exciting things of your life. You're like, this is so great. My nose tickles from the bubbles. And there's a great scene in the book, The Road, where it's post-apocalyptic. Nobody's around. They're just pushing a shopping cart down the street, a man and his son. And they come upon a store that has been abandoned, and in the store is like a Coke machine, and they get a Coca-Cola, a soda, and then he shares it with his son, and it's one of the most beautiful scenes, because it just brings you back to that moment where you just share a soda with your father or your parents. But, you know, everybody's dead. And, so, I don't know, there's stuff like that, the simple pleasures in life right now that maybe we should start to, like, pay a little more attention to right now. It's kind of a rough time that the country is going through. The world is going through. We're dealing with, stuff. I do take comfort in post-apocalypse movies, because I'm like, what would I do? Would I wear all leather with spikes? Would I play a bedpan fashioned into a bass guitar? Yeah. Obviously. Probably. The guy from Mad Max Fury Road who's on the front of that thing, he's like strapped in, he's suspended by those hooks, and he's playing that flame-throwing bass guitar. It's like a double neck bass electric guitar. It's actually a bedpan. The body of it is a bedpan, and he's playing it. So it's very practical. Children of Men, Ron Perty, that's a good one. Something about that idea that all of a sudden everybody on Earth becomes sterile. Just the concept of that, Ron Perty. All the women in the world just are unable to get pregnant. Just the concept of that. Chaos ensues. It's crazy. That's a great one, though. There's a lot of crazy stuff that happens in that movie. Very surprising things happen in that movie. I don't want to spoil it, but if you watch that movie, you just don't feel safe ever, because people just instantly get... I'm not going to spoil it. Is this well? I Am Legend and 12 Monkeys at least inject some of life and color into the post-apocalypse. Yes. I Am Legend. It's a good one. It's kind of pertinent to now. What if only Will Smith could come up with the cure for coronavirus? What if we just had a Will Smith and Jaden Smith? Jaden Smith would just ruin it, though. He'd be like, but why, though? Jaden Smith would just be tweeting, but why, though? And then Will Smith would be like, dude, stop tweeting. There are no humans. The Quiet Earth. Greg brings up The Quiet Earth. It's a low-budget film from New Zealand from the 80s. Well, I do like New Zealand. And I do like Taika Waititi. I haven't heard The Quiet Earth yet, though. But, Greg, I've sent Kevin Costner on horseback via post to send you and deliver a payday candy bar. I hope that you receive it soon. You may never. It might be delayed due to the president delaying the post office. But the quiet earth. That reminds me of The Day the Earth Stood Still. Just the title of it, and that does remind me. Who was in that? Burt Lancaster, I think it was. What was it? Nikto. Something. What was the term? You guys can save me with this one. The Day the Earth Stood Still, when they had the robot. Let's see. Klaatu, Barada, Nikto. Yeah, that felt. Klaatu, Barada, Nikto. Uh-oh. Greg, where are you? You're not home? You're getting a payday. Today's your day. Don't worry, Greg. It will survive the apocalypse. Your payday bar will stay the same. I'm not going to say fresh, because I don't think they ever come fresh, but it will stay exactly the same. It will never decay. Klaatu, Barada, Nikto. That's a good one. Did you guys see the remake of The Day the Earth Stood Still with Keanu Reeves? I want to bring this up. It's very important. Why does Keanu Reeves always play like a very, very important person? When clearly he's just a really nice and incredibly likable dude. It's in fact scientifically impossible to not like Keanu Reeves. But every movie that he's in, it's like he's got the secret. He is the guy who's got the package. He's the guy with the knowledge. He's the guy with whatever's in his head. We need to get it out of his head. He's the guy who writes the song that saves the universe. He is the dude who gets a million headshots. He is the one guy. If only Keanu were here to save us right now. Where is Keanu Reeves? Help us, Keanu Reeves. You're our only hope. Technically, Endgame, Will brings up, is post-apocalyptic, as is The Matrix. Yes, Endgame is a post-apocalyptic movie. It is. It's pretty dark. I liked that in Endgame there are some really cool details that they show. They'll show the Hudson and the East Rivers going on either side of Manhattan. All the boats are kind of just docked or just floating adrift, and there are whales in the East River and the Hudson River, and you're just like, well, I guess there are whales in the East River. That's crazy. I have a story of working on the East River. I'll bring that up later. Remind me. I worked on film productions with these New York guys on the East River, and I'm pretty sure that anybody that didn't please these guys ended up a block over in the East River. I'm pretty sure. I got some really funny stories from working on that film set. It's a movie. I think you can find this movie. It was a movie called And She Was. I think it's still called And She Was. Funny thing about that movie is that it was titled And She Was after the song by the Talking Heads, And She Was, but they couldn't get the rights to the song And She Was, so they had to get someone to write another song called And She Was. You know that song by Talking Heads. Da-da-da-da-da, da-da-da-da-da, and she was. I forget how it goes. It goes something like that. That's his essence. As an actor, you understand that. Yes, Greg, I understand that Keanu is the guy that we need to... Keanu. If only we can get a guy who symbolizes everything, who symbolizes the most genius type of person, the person who has it all. It has to be Keanu. We need to get Johnny Mnemonic. We need to get the information from his head. I guess Johnny Mnemonic is kind of a character where he reminds me of my favorite joke. One of my favorite jokes. Here it goes. So this guy walks into a store. They sell brains. And then the guy says, okay, up on that shelf, I see you have a brain. I need a new brain. How much for that brain? And the guy says, well, that's a doctor's brain. That will cost you $5,000. And the guy's like, $5,000 for a doctor's brain? Okay, well, let me think about it. How much for that rocket scientist's brain? And he's like, oh, that is a rocket scientist's brain up here on this shelf. That's going to cost you $10,000. And the guy's like, $10,000 for the rocket scientist's brain? I don't have $10,000. How much for that skateboarder's brain? That brain right there on the shelf that says skateboarder. Surely you could sell me that brain in that jar. And the guy said, oh, this brain right here that says skateboarder, $150,000. The guy bloat. He's like, what the heck? You said a doctor's brain is $5,000. A neurosurgeon brain, a rocket scientist's brain, $10,000. Why on earth is a skateboarder's brain $150,000? Store owner says, it's never been used. It does sound like Baby Yoda Fauci. Hey everybody, welcome to the Aristotle Throttle program, where we tell really old dad jokes, kind of. And if that's your idea of a dad joke, then your dad is hilarious. I think your dad is hilarious. Thank you guys for joining me. It's really my show, if you think about it. I'm the only one bestowing any kind of informational value. Wear a mask. Stay apart from one another. And tie your shoelaces, for Christ's sake. You're tripping all over yourself. Thank you, Dr. Baby Yoda Fauci. So that's why I think Keanu Reeves' brain is so valuable. Perhaps. I think he's great at what he does. 28 Days Later that's a great one. You know why I like 28 Days Later? It was written by Alex Garland. Alex Garland writes lots of really cool sci-fi. It was written by Alex Garland, directed by Danny Boyle. And following that, Alex Garland wrote Sunshine, which was also directed by Danny Boyle. Cool thing about Danny Boyle, film director, best director, award winner, Oscar winner for Slumdog Millionaire. Danny Boyle likes to make different kinds of films every time. Every time he makes a film, he makes a different film. And that's what I like about him. And he always pushes his movies into different areas that are challenging. He also directed 127 Hours. If you've seen 127 Hours, I hope you've got like a week to watch it. It's long. I'm kidding. It's a regular standard film length. But that movie, 127 Hours, is about a dude who cuts his arm off. And that's the really short explanation. What's up, Stroke here? What's up, Counselor Blurds? Hey, Ian in Motion. Welcome, everybody, on Instagram. If you guys are watching here, today we're talking about apocalyptic movies. But right now, I'm particularly talking about 28 Days Later, Danny Boyle, and 127 Hours. If you try to sell the movie 127 Hours and say, that's a movie about a guy who cuts his arm off. Well, yeah, that happens in the movie. But the way the movie is designed, it's so well executed and arranged that you're taken along through this story. And when you get to the point, the selling point, guy cuts his own arm off, James Franco. When you get to this point, it is the most exciting thing that happens. You're like, yes, let's cut this arm off. Let's take this arm. Yeah. It's one of those kinds of movies. Danny Boyle has a way of taking a weird, if you were to sum it up in a sentence, you wouldn't be able to, because he takes you on the journey to where it's so important that this guy cuts his arm off that we are excited and happy that it happens. So if in the abstract you can't stand the idea of a guy cutting his own arm off to save his own life, I say give it a try. Give the movie a try, because once you get to that point in the movie, you're like, you couldn't be happier that this guy cuts his own arm off. Danny Boyle is a very artful and skilled director. Alex Garland also wrote the screenplays and directed Ex Machina and Annihilation, which are really interesting and cool sci-fi movies. So yeah, Will, 28 Days Later, great example of a imagine waking up like Cillian Murphy in that movie and just being like, ain't nobody around. Where'd everybody go? I'm hungry. I hope my payday bar arrives. Yeah, Cillian Murphy is in a hospital bed with like a head injury and is out, I guess, for several weeks, and wakes up to the fact that the entire Earth has been destroyed by a zombie apocalypse. And they ain't no slow-moving zombies. These zombies will run after you as soon as they get infected, which I think is really ups the stakes of the whole zombie genre. Because at first, if you're a zombie, if you're like a George Romero zombie, you're like, whoa, you kind of stretch it out. You start to walk slowly. After you're like, I'm hungry. I'm going to go eat some brains. No. 28 days later, you get one drop of blood in your eye, and you've become instantly ravenous for human brains, and you chase after people. It's a great twist on the zombie genre, and you can see how, and then, of course, World War Z comes out, based on the books, by Mel Brooks' son, Kevin. What's Mel Brooks' son? Melon? Steve. Zach. Zoe. Johnny. I'm just going to name names. Freddie. Anthony Fauci Brooks. His son, Brooks, wrote the World War Z movie, the books, and then the movie came out. And people, they had problems with the movie, but I thought it was an okay movie. Max Brooks. Thank you, Ron Perty. I was close. There was a letter in there that I was getting closer to. World War Z by Max Brooks, by Zoe Kravitz Brooks. Those movies are pretty cool. I do like a good zombie movie. I like the idea that it is insurmountable, that the enemy is just, there's no seeming solution to getting out of the situation. Did you guys see the Snowpiercer movie with Captain America? With Captain America and the Ancient One? Now movies have so many Marvel actors in them. Every movie that you watch has a Marvel actor in the movie, I'm pretty sure. You could just go down the list, the litany of movies. There was a movie coming out. It has Tom Holland and Robert Pattinson. And I'm like, Spider-Man and Batman in the same movie. Neat. I get it, though. I do want to be that actor that has, like, I'm a superhero. I play Sponge Man. I played the sponge with my hair. I can absorb all of the water in the room. I'll have that as my mainstream superhero action film. Like my Action Jackson. That'll be my Action Jackson. And then I'll do small indie films. I was going to make a joke, but it wouldn't be that funny. So, just like all of the jokes. But what's the difference, right? That's what you're asking yourself. Snowpiercer is pretty great. I haven't watched the TV show yet. The Snowpiercer movie. The Snowpiercer movie I saw, but I have not watched the TV show. Here's the funny thing about Snowpiercer. I was watching Better Call Saul. And there's an actor on that show. This is the fun thing about working in movies, is that you never know who you're going to be working with randomly. Patrick Fabian. So one night I was watching Better Call Saul. I had to get up early for the next day for work, and I didn't really look at the call sheet. I was doing photography on this movie, and I was just like, I'm just going to get up. So I watched Better Call Saul, and there's a character in the TV show played by Patrick Fabian. The next morning, I'm at work, and I'm talking to my friend who's the boom operator, and we're talking about Snowpiercer, and while he's miking up the actor, Patrick Fabian, who I was just watching like 6 or 7 hours before that on Better Call Saul. So I had this moment of like this weird, I didn't know he was working on the show. So I was just watching a show. I got up and I went to work, and there's the actor from the show that I was just watching, talking to us about Snowpiercer and how good that movie is. And it is a good movie. That's why I bring it up, because we were just talking about Snowpiercer for about 20 minutes, and I was like, I was just watching you 7 hours ago, and I had no idea that I would run into you today. So that's what happens. That's one of the things that happens in this town. Oh, David, yeah. See, you're talking about David Diggs being the main character of the Snowpiercer TV show, and David Diggs also from Hamilton. Also, guys, from Clipping. Clipping is David Diggs' like music group, and they are pretty cool. They're an experimental rap group, and they use random sounds like an alarm clock to create songs. Check them out. They're really cool, and they're not very family friendly, but Hamilton is. David from Hamilton, he plays Lafayette and Jefferson. Is this Will? You can argue that an audience is so large for a Marvel movie that they all give their best effort, which sets them up to get more work. Yes, Will. You know, I got a bone to pick about this. You know, I think about these Marvel movies, and I think about how a lot of A-list actors will get their Marvel superhero character and be like, okay, this is my payday. See what I did there? And then they'll go, I'll do my little art films on the side. However, I'm going to say this is controversial. I feel like Brie Larson is a much better actor than she was in Captain Marvel. I said it. Brie Larson is a much better actor than she was in Captain Marvel. If you guys seen Room, she's excellent. Oscar-winning performance. If you guys watch Marvel's Captain Marvel, I was like, what happened? And I think this is the thing. I think she played that role like, I'm a superhero, cool. This is going to be my superhero gig. And I just don't feel like she was either, it might have been the directing, it might have been the script, I don't know what it was, but I just feel like she's so much better than she showed in that movie. And I was disappointed. I think she was playing the role like, hey, I'm the most superpowered superhero. Yeah, with no dimension or depth. And I don't know if that was her coming to the role as like, this is dumb, it's a superhero character, I'm just going to take the money and run. Or if it was just poor directing. The thing that I think sells these Marvel movies is that the actors are all so good. They're all given meaty monologues and stuff like that to really just dive into and make real, because it's really difficult. And I always point people to this. When you're watching Chris Hemsworth portray Thor in Infinity War, there's a monologue that he has where he's describing his life. He's sort of giving a backstory of the character. I've been alive for 3,000 years. I've killed twice as many enemies. I've witnessed my father. He's talking like this epic Shakespearean monologue about his life as this warrior through space and time. And we go with it. We believe it because he makes it real. Now, the actor's job is to make the story real. And Chris Hemsworth in that scene where Rocket, he's talking to a raccoon in space about being a god, a Norse god. Okay? There's some hard stuff to make real. But he does. He makes it real with his acting. He uses his acting powers. That's his superpower. For instance, the Ancient One, Tilda Swinton, is ridiculously amazing every time she shows up in a role that's pretty minor for her. Particularly in Endgame. When she shows up, she's got maybe 10 lines, and every single time she's on screen, she just commands your attention, and everything she says has so much depth to it. and she's got lots of thoughts going on. She's got lots of things that she's thinking. She conveys the message. She tells the story so wonderfully. When you've got Brie Larson, she's an amazing actor. In Marvel's Captain Marvel, she's just like one-note superhero. And I got disappointed by that. Sorry, guys. Not a big fan of Captain Marvel overall. I thought it was good. I thought it was okay. I thought it was pretty good. But, you know, some people love it. Tilda Swinton irked you in Doctor Strange. Angie, why did Tilda Swinton irk you in Doctor Strange? Is it because she is a Celtic person portraying an ancient Buddhist person in a country, but solely for marketing reasons because of China not getting along with that part of the world and constantly oppressing those folks and threatening their livelihood and threatening their existence, so that Marvel was like, you know what, let's not bring this up because we won't be able to sell this to China, so let's make this person an ancient Celtic person due to politics. Yeah, that irked me too. I didn't think that was quite right. What's up, Shy? Thank you for being our guest the other day. You didn't like the Captain Marvel, the character of Captain Marvel, very Karen. That's what Shy says. You know, I didn't care for her Karen. I wasn't caring for that Karen. Jen the Fierce says, she didn't remind me of the comic book Captain Marvel, but the movie was still good. Yeah, Jen, I would say the movie was good. I enjoyed it. I just was disappointed in the fact that Brie Larson is way better than that. But in all fairness, if you would look at Chris Hemsworth in the first Thor movie, he's okay, but the character isn't fully the Thor we like by the time we get to Thor Ragnarok. By the time we get to Thor Ragnarok, we're like, all right, this is entertaining. Maybe he's not exactly like the comic book iteration, but the comic books always take the characters into different corners. So the movies can do that too. The movies can take these characters and bring them into breathe new life into them. As Wisconsin's own Mark Ruffalo is a fantastic as Banner Hulk. Yeah, that's where Mark Ruffalo is from, Ron. I always notice this when I'm watching Infinity War. In the beginning of Infinity War, when Mark Ruffalo shows up, he de-Hulkifies. He gets shot across the universe from the Bifrost. He lands in the Sanctorum, Rick Santorum. He lands in Rick Santorum. And he's there, and he de-Hulkifies, turns back into Mark Ruffalo, and then he's talking to Tony Stark, and he says a line that I was like, where the heck is he from? Because Bruce Banner is supposed to be from New York, I think, or he's in New York. But the way Mark Ruffalo says this line, it sounds like he's from Chicago, but apparently he's from Wisconsin. But he's like, yeah, he's got the crystals. It doesn't matter who you're talking to. I was like, wait a minute. Mark Ruffalo, hey, Tony, Thanos is coming. It doesn't matter who you're talking to. I'm like, that's not a New York accent. Mark Ruffalo, who I now know is a cheesehead, beer-drinking cheesehead. That's what we say to Wisconsin folks, because we're jealous. We would like to be drinking beer and eating cheese all day. What's up, Jimmy James Cordova? I hope all is well with you. Nice to see you on the Instagram. If you guys, oh, cool, we got $20 for the ACLU, guys. We're donating money every day on Instagram. Every day on Instagram, we're donating money to the ACLU, because guess what? That's the one organization that continues to fight for us. Fight for your right. The ACLU fights for your right to party. And we got $20 toward the ACLU today. Thank you, guys. Every day we have a little fundraiser going on, which is good. If you guys would like to support this channel, you can go to patreon.com/Aristotle Full Throttle and donate like $2 a month. $2 a month. Can you imagine? How much cheese could you buy? You would need $4 to buy cheese, Ron. So just $2 toward this show can help me buy half of one cheese. Thank you. I might end up on government cheese, which is fine. You ever have government cheese, guys? They don't cut it. The least the government can do is cut the cheese. Is this Will? Larson's scene in Endgame were written and shot before her movie, and they were way better and represent her cockiness and charm. Yeah, good point, Will. I know we're talking about post-apocalyptic movies, and Endgame being post-apocalyptic. The very first 10 minutes of Endgame. It's not really a spoiler, but it is a spoiler if you do watch the end of Infinity War and have not seen Endgame. The character of Captain Marvel shows up, and she is way better fleshed out in a sense that we don't really need to get to know her. It's not an origin story. We just say, wow, this person is super powered and interesting. But she shot those scenes not even knowing what she was doing. She just said lines on a blue screen. She's like not even there with the other actors pretty much. And maybe she's hanging out with Chris Hemsworth or whatever when he pulls a Stormbreaker and he's like, I like this one. Yeah, he's great. But yeah, I just think maybe the next Captain Marvel would have to really get a new angle on the character, or she'd have to lean into a different aspect of the character, just like they did in Thor Ragnarok. Are you going to start doing Twitch subs? Yeah. Yeah, everybody, do some Twitch subs. Subscribe on Twitch. Do that. Jen, thank you. Jen the Fierce, I'll have you all know, has been editing the highlight reels for the show, which is very excellent. Thank you so much. It really helps the show. Guys, this show is awesome in the sense that it happens because of you. This is all your fault. I blame you guys for this show. And I enjoy doing the show, and I enjoy the fact that everyone is participating and a part of it. Quite literally, a part of the show. Like, I actually use your energy. You're like human batteries in the matrix of the show. I'm harnessing your BTUs from your body. This is all a waking dream for you. But I'm like the guy from the Matrix. The dude, see, I'm growing my beard so I could be like the architect of the Matrix. Now the Matrix is made from cheese and beer. We power our Matrix on cheese and beer. Wisconsin is their central location. It is the post-apocalypse. Matrix is a post-apocalyptic movie. Remember the Matrix, guys? Remember the Matrix. Remember, the 5th of November. I love cheese and beer. The Aritech. Yeah, I'm the Aritech of the show. Wowzer, guys. Wow, we're almost at the end of the hour. This is crazy. I have to prepare for an audition this afternoon for as a Zoom audition. I don't even understand I don't even know. Should be fun. I'm the architect of the show. Oh, yeah, George Carlin as the architect. It was hilarious. MTV Movie Awards. Oh, man, George Carlin was one of the best. George Carlin might have been the best. Him and Richard Pryor. He and Richard Pryor were geniuses beyond genius. I think the closest thing we have to a George Carlin or Richard Pryor these days, we've got Dave Chappelle. Louis C.K. used to be a comedian, but he's dead now. He was pretty good. He was pretty good when he wasn't victimizing people. But I guess he was always doing that. Oh well. You win some, you whack off in front of strangers some. Last 2 films you made, Ron Pertee says, I filmed over the internet. It's funny how these indies are handled. That's interesting, yeah. Ron, I had an idea years ago, being in a rock and roll band, where I was like, hey, everybody, film yourself singing part of this song, And then we're going to cut it together into a video. And I was thinking, this will save on production costs, but it'll also be fun and inclusive. But now everybody does that, I think. I feel like every band does that these days. Yeah, rest in peace, Louis C.K. Yeah, Dave said some funny things about Louis C.K. Shy. Dave said some interesting things. There are some people who will cancel a comedian or not want to listen to the rest of a comedian just because of one thing they say about one thing. And I don't think that... I think what we need to do, and in summation in these next few minutes, I want to talk about tolerance. Let's tolerate each other. I mean, not like... If you don't get along with somebody, at least tolerate them. Sometimes people will say, I don't like the one thing that that person said. They're canceled in my head, gone forever. But, you know, is that really fair? Has that ever happened to you? Has this ever happened to you? Yep. Has this ever happened to you? Almost every day. We have to realize that life is about learning. I think there's a lot of people on the internet who look for people to destroy, to create a post-apocalyptic world. There are people who look for chaos. They thrive on chaos. They thrive on, you know, shaking things up and causing a ruckus. Right now, that's Russia. That's like places like Russia and China who are interfering, and our current administration who are interfering with the post office, who are interfering with our fundamental rights in this country. I want you guys to really, really consider the fact that the administration right now, the president of the United States, is trying to F with you constantly and on a daily basis. So what you need to do is vote. And I know they're trying to make it really difficult to vote right now. They're trying to slow down the post office so that they can't get the votes they need to win, because guess what? When you're in power and you suck, like this president, you know, he sucks at presidenting, he sucks at leading, he sucks at all of the things, but he likes the power part. He wants to stay in power, and in order to do that, he's trying to make it very difficult. He's trying to make it very difficult for you and for me to I'm going to say dethrone him, because he thinks he's got all of the power. This is a really important time, guys, and there's only 1:40 left on the Instagram. If you guys want to jump over to twitch.tv/Aristotle Full Throttle, do that. Subscribe to my Twitch. We're going to have some games going. We're going to be playing video games, like music games, so that they're educational and fun. And we can watch me biff at video games. Not a very big gamer, but I do like to play music, so we're gonna figure out how to integrate that. I also want to talk about some cool stuff I love about music on perhaps its own Twitch stream. It'll be a dedicated Twitch stream where I play music and talk about my favorite music. It'll be an offshoot of this show, but also a part of, you know, what we do here. But guys, we've got to preserve the whole idea of this country, which is that it is made up of people who run the country, not of someone at the top who controls everything. Now, mark my words, we've got 30 seconds left on Instagram. Thank you for the $20 donation for the ACLU on Instagram. That's awesome. I want you to know that the last 2 months of 2020 are going to be the worst. November and December, all the way up until January 20th, if not beforehand, it's going to get ugly. It's going to be weird. This president, win, lose, or fraud, will put up the weirdest show ever. See you guys tomorrow on Instagram. If we let this guy continue, It's scary. If he loses, he's going to say he didn't lose. I guarantee it. He has a thing called malignant narcissism. He cannot function any other way. He has got a program, and it's set to me, 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 me. That's it. That's the only way. The president is incredibly predictable. If you just run everything through a cheesecloth, bringing it back to cheese, Ron. If you run his brain through a cheesecloth, everything that filters out is just me juice. There's no other function. He has no other way of working. So he's very predictable. And I promise you guys, it's gonna get ugly. You think it's ugly now, it's gonna get real ugly. So batten down the hatches. Get ready to vote. Please. I'm not even going to sit there and just encourage you to vote. I'm going to tell you to vote for Joe Biden. Vote for Joe Biden, because a vote for Joe Biden is a vote for the future of life as we know it. Otherwise, we can continue down this lane of apocalypsing. There's no clear leadership during this pandemic, and that's why we don't have any kind of control over the situation. There's no one at the top saying, hey, everybody wear a mask. I'm going to wear a mask. Watch me wear a mask. There's nobody saying that except for me, Dr. Baby Yoda Fauci. Please, let me demonstrate proper mask use. Hey, everybody. It was in that moment Aristotle full throttle knew that his Morgan Freeman impression would fail while he tried to dress up his Dr. Baby Yoda Fauci. Everybody, wear your damn mask, okay? Guys, if you go out to eat, just consider the fact that there are people. Will says they have surmised that letting it run wild is their strategic advantage. It really is, Will. It's just a scary situation we're in. And just be wise. I like to think folks like Superman and Captain America wouldn't be Trump supporters. Ron Pertzi, I would like to think that you're right. I would like to think that Captain America, the Winter Soldier, is the movie. Actually, Captain America Civil War is the movie that clearly demonstrates that Captain America is way more for the fundamentals of what it is to be an American than any particular leadership. That movie demonstrates Captain America's allegiance to liberty and not allegiance to whoever's in charge. I feel like there are two types of people. There are two types of people in this world. Some of them are over 6 feet, and some of them are 6 feet and under. Maybe there's more. I'll tell you, there's two types of people in this world. Some people who are like, he's the captain. He's the president. The president gets the respect because he's the president. And in my mind, the president is respect worthy. And they're the president, because they're the president, I respect them. There are those people, and then there's people like me who are like, oh, you're an idiot, jerk, sociopathic, malignant narcissist? F off, bro. So I hope that y'all are like that too. Not the office does not deserve respect if one who is in the office does not respect said office. If they don't respect the office they're in, I don't respect them. Okay? Shai says, I don't know. I feel like people have this very propagated idea of what America is, and it's never what it actually is. Yeah, Shai, that's where we get lost in the weeds with this whole thing. A lot of people have an idea of what Christianity is. A lot of people have an idea of what the Bible says. And it's never quite what it is. So I just go back to one thing. They're like, Jesus did this, Jesus said that. Jesus said all of these things that make me feel better about me being a jerk. No. Jesus said one thing and one thing only, which is Jeff Dye does a good stand-up about this. I just watched this on Instagram recently. He's like, Jesus said, love everybody. And then people are like, but what about, what about gay people? And he's like, really, bro? I just said love everybody. And then people are like, but what about, trans folks? And he's like, oh, man, I just said love everybody. And they're like, well, what about, liberals and whatnot and those people? And he's like, you serious? I said love everybody. But what about these people and those people? It's really difficult. It's really difficult to get people to just swallow a simple message. This is a simple message. Just be... My message to y'all is just don't be a dick. It's pretty easy. I swear to God, I think it takes more effort to be a dick than it does to not be a dick. So just don't be one. Save your energy. I'm not lazy. I'm just an energy conservationist. Yeah. Yeah, the favorite Jesus memes are the did I stutter ones, but I learned the other day from Candyland that I'm not allowed to say stutter anymore because stuttering, I don't know. Can't say lame, can't say stutter. We got to learn new vernaculars. We have to be cognizant. We have to grow. Did I misspeak? Did you not hear me? Was I not loud enough? Maybe that could be the thing. Let me just say it louder. Love everyone. Easy. It's really easy, guys. If you just accept... Some people, though, suck. And then just avoid those people. Or, love them from afar. Angelo says, that's how I used to end my yoga classes. Don't be a dick. If my yoga instructor said that, I would be happy. I would follow that advice to the end. I follow that advice to the end. And speaking of the end is nigh. The apocalypse is here. If you want it, or if you don't. I feel like John Lennon holding up that sign. War is over. If you want it. The apocalypse. We are canceling the apocalypse. Today's show is all over the place, but that's how I like it. I like it like, we are canceling the apocalypse. I challenge you to a dance-off. I'm Idris Elbow, and I approve this canceling of the apocalypse. Why doesn't Idris Elbow run for president? We are canceling the apocalypse. Guys, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to get a printer. I have a printer. I'm going to start printing out these people's faces and putting them on popsicle sticks and doing puppet shows because I feel very self-conscious when you're looking at me and I'm doing the voice. I can do it much better when you're not looking at me. I'm very camera shy when it comes to acting. Yeah. Superman 3, Ron Pertwee. I enjoy Superman 3 also. Annette O'Toole. I had a major crush on Annette O'Toole in that movie. As a little kid. Richard Pryor was hilarious. To this day, I say, at the same time? I still say that. Richard Pryor in a Superman movie. I remember that just being like, okay, let me watch this. And then here's the thing about Richard Pryor. Greatest comedian ever. His movies, meh. Can you think of a Richard Pryor movie where he was like unbelievably hilarious? They're all kind of like, meh. Richard Pryor is moving. Poor Gus. At the same time? Yeah, Harlem Nights. Yeah, okay. Touche, Angeno. I think that Richard Pryor is unbelievably... Yeah, I think... See, Pryor was supposed to be the main character, the sheriff in Blazing Saddles, but apparently he was replaced by a guy who brought a whole different angle to that character, which was legendary. I forget his name, but that actor who played the main character, the sheriff in Blazing Saddles, brought a whole coolness that I don't think Richard Pryor would have necessarily brought. Richard Pryor always brought like a goofiness, which it was very funny. Clavon Little. Yes, Clavon Little. Good stuff. He brought such a swagger to that role that I think Richard Pryor would have brought a whole different energy to that role. Probably would have been as legendary, but still, the way it came out worked wonders. Well, guys, I'm gonna prepare for this audition that's gonna be on Zoom. I don't even understand what they're gonna have us do. They're gonna call us 20 minutes early. 20 minutes early on Zoom to discuss us. This is usually how our commercial audition goes. They go, okay, so you guys are hanging out and having a good time, and then at some point you take a sip. I'll let you know when that point is. So then you sit down and you're like, hey, Johnny, nice to see you, man. Great, cheers, awesome. And then they're like, okay, now take a sip. And they're like, okay, this stuff is really great. Buy it. And that's the extent of commercial auditioning, guys. It's really challenging for actors. They're always like, eat this piece of bread because we want to see what you look like when you eat. And then I'm like, I did study acting. They're like, yeah, we know. We just want to see what you look like when you eat, though. I do know how to act, right? And they're like, sure, cool. So the bread is on the plate. Just take a bite. And I'm like, so this is for McDonald's, right? And they're like, yeah. Yeah, okay, now, so what you're doing is you're a dad, and you're at McDonald's, and you're eating a Big Mac, except just take a bite of that piece of bread. And then you're like, hey, kids, eat your Happy Meals. That's how I eat bread. I look horrifying when I eat. You don't want to see it. You don't want to see it. This is why I fail. This is why I fail at McDonald's commercials. I'm like, had they not asked me to eat, I would have invoked my Shakespearean training. Acting. So, I hope that you go into a noble profession. I hope you had a wonderful weekend, ladies and gentlemen. This week, I'm going to get some guests going. I'm going to get some guests going again. I might change the time of the show. I might change it a little to the afternoon or the evening so that I can get out during the day and see the world, maybe get a little sun. I hope you guys are staying safe and wearing your mask and staying 6 feet apart and doing your life as you normally would, or at least finding some kind of normalcy in your life. Y'all can do it, I know. I know you can. There's a garbage can or an apocalypse a garbage truck or an apocalypse happening outside my window. Stay safe, y'all. Love everyone and don't be a dick. Thank you, Angie, for that. Thank you guys for joining me. I've been Aristotle Full Throttle. Your bro in the know with the fro, and go easy. I'm going to go watch a bunch of Richard Pryor stand-up. I suggest you Google it. Watch the Richard Pryor clip where he's talking about being a runner for the mob. Google that. Go on YouTube and go, Richard Pryor, mob job, or something like that, when he worked for the mob when he was a kid. He's like 17 or 18 years old and he was working for the mob. Oh, that's right. I was going to tell you about when I worked for the mob myself. I'll tell you this story and then I'll go. Thanks, Jai. This story only takes a couple minutes. I was working on a movie in Brooklyn on the East River, and there's a group of questionable folks. This movie's called And She Was. It was produced by these guys. It was directed by Frank Rainoni. His brother-in-law is in the movie. His other brother is like, they were a bunch of lawyers. They would always wear suits. They'd wear nice suits. And sometimes I was working as assistant locations manager, and I would show up, and they'd at the end of the day, they'd all be in like t-shirts and suit pants, sitting around smoking cigars, you know, as you do in Brooklyn. And it was right on the East River. The office was on the East River. It was very strange. I was like a kid. I didn't know what was going on. But there was one moment where there was this one guy. He was hired as security, as a stunt driver, as an extra, and also as just a security guy. He talked like this. Hey, I was in the episode of The Sopranos. I was this guy. He's actually legitimately in a lot of this. He's an extra in a lot of movies. He's like, I was in Godzilla. Check it out. They had a helmet and they had a flak jacket and I had a gun. I'm not joking. This is exactly how he sounded. I'm from New York. This is how the guy sounded. He sounded like he was from New York. I was in The Sopranos. I was sitting right there next to Tony Soprano. It was like me and Tony Soprano. I'm sitting in. I was watching The Sopranos a year later, and there he was. He was sitting right there. But this guy, one day, we were on set at the studio, and there was a lot of noise next door. There was construction, hammering, nailing, sawing, and we need to film. And for filming, you need silence. So one day, the guy said to me, we'll call him Mike. Hey, this is Mike. He said, come with me, Aristotle. I need your help with something because I'm over 6 foot. I'm one of the people in the world that's over 6 feet. And he's like, I need you to come over here and you gotta go over here now. And then we went next door and he helped. He's like, okay, now there's wood over there. Let's go grab the wood. You grab this side of the wood. I'm gonna grab the other side of the wood. We're gonna carry the wood. And we carried all this wood. 2 trips, went, grabbed these gigantic 4x8 sheets of like plywood, and we brought them all in. And all of these 2x4s, and we brought them into our studio. And then I had realized that the wood that we moved from next door into our studio was wood that construction workers were cutting and hammering and nailing next door. It was not our wood. It was their wood. And the guy, Mike, said, hey, if they've got no wood, they can't do no work. So I, being young and naive, participated in organized crime. I helped Mike steal all of the wood from next door so that we can continue filming. Because Mike is a sociopath and solves problems as a sociopath would. If they've got no wood, they can't work. I'm not joking. That's really what happened. I was horrified. I was 21, 22 years old, and I had no idea. He just said, hey, Aristotle, come with me. I need you to help me with something. Went outside, carried wood inside. I was like, okay, do you need anything else? He's like, hey, if they got no wood, they can't work. Creative problem solving. Thank you, guys. Organized criminal, Aristotle, full throttle here. Your bro in the know with the fro. And I'll see you tomorrow. Jen, I'm going to hang out here for like 1 second so that you can catch the rest of this on the thing. I'm just going to hang out here because sometimes it cuts off super early. I hope this is enough.